Hello, I hope you're well. Welcome or welcome back to my channel, and welcome to today's video where I'm talking all about my 2022 reading and channel goals. Now, I was one of those children that always had a plan. I am very much one of those adults who always has a plan, a 1-year plan, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, hell, a 25-year plan. There is something very soothing to me about having goals at which to aim myself like a human cannonball. Like, it brings me some sort of giddy joy and contentment, and so I love talking about my goals, and I also really enjoy watching other people talk about theirs. So hopefully you will enjoy this video, but why don't we dive right in? Now, I figure I should talk first about the goals that I'm carrying with me from 2021. 2021 has not been the year we hoped it would be, so there isn't much that I want to take with me from 2021 into 2022. However, there are some reading goals that I liked and that I want to continue to work towards. The first is the number of books that I want to read in 2022. So in 2021, I set a goal of 75 books, and that is really what I want to keep as my goal for 2022. I feel like that's a good number. I have already surpassed it. I think by the end of this year, I will have surpassed it by probably 15 to 20 books. I think I'm already nearly 10 over it right now, and I still have a few weeks to go from when I'm filming this. So I do feel like that's a good, nice number for me to strive towards because it's attainable. And also, I'm actually pretty content with the amount of time that I am devoting to reading. And so in order to read more books, something would have to give. I would have to spend less time with my other hobbies, whether that's baking or watching movies, booktube, or spending time with my family, or whatever else I do in my spare time. So since I'm happy with how I'm divvying up my time among all of my pursuits and interests, 75 feels like a safe number. And another of the goals that I want to take with me from 2021 is to read about 30% nonfiction. Now, this wasn't exactly a goal that I managed to accomplish in 2021. I think at the end of the day, I will have read roughly 20%, depending on how many books I end up reading by the end of the year. But I do think 30% is at least a good target for me. It would be great if I'd said, okay, I'm going to read 1 to 2 nonfiction books a month, but there are some months that I just don't feel like reading nonfiction, and the books that are more interesting to me are fiction. So not going to make it a homework assignment. We're going to aim for 30 and see if I get any closer than I did in 2021. And then there is the other goal from 2021, which was to read more diversely. Now, this is not a goal that I think is ever going to go away. I think it is really, really important to be seeking out stories that are written by underrepresented or marginalized authors. And so it's really important for me to continue to pursue this and to be conscientious about my effort in doing so. And I don't think that I did so badly this year, but there's always room for improvement. I think at the end of the day, in 2021, I read a little over 30% of books written by underrepresented or marginalized authors, so BIPOC authors, LGBTQ+ authors, neurodiverse authors, and the like. And I think, too, as someone who is an avid reader of historical fiction, it would be interesting to read more historical fiction written by these diverse authors. There's plenty of it out there, and so I think I want to be a little bit more mindful and try to seek out those stories that are set in historical time periods and written by and about BIPOC individuals or LGBTQ+ individuals, neurodiverse individuals, and the like. So I think that's something I'm going to try to investigate a little bit more in 2022. So the last of the goals that is following me from 2021 is to read more women in translation. I think over the course of 2021, I read 7 to 10 translated works written by women, and I would love to see that number grow. I would love also to be mindful of the fact that I definitely have a blind spot. I definitely have a comfort zone when it comes to translated lit, and that is European focused pieces of fiction and nonfiction. And so I would really love to expand and grow and read more translated works from other parts of the world. And I do honestly feel as though I am kind of setting myself up for success here because of the Found in Translation book club that I am co-hosting with Noelle and Annie. This is not a book club that focuses on solely women in translation. It is translated lit more broadly, but inevitably we are going to read books written by women, and I love that. And it's already proving successful because in the first 3 months, which we've selected the books already, I'll be reading 2 women in translation. One that's translated from Japanese and one that's translated from Chinese. So already it is succeeding in broadening the books that I am reading, and I am so excited about that. I am so excited to talk about those books with Noelle and Annie and with whomever decides to join us for the monthly reads. So I do feel like I'm in a good position for that one. And now for a handful of goals that are new for 2022. And the first of which is actually to explore the romance genre a little bit more than I have in recent years. Now, I would probably say that I am a closeted romance reader, and what I mean by that is that I was definitely guilty of poo-pooing romance as a genre and not taking it seriously enough. But then when I actually look at the books that I grew up loving, Gone with the Wind, Outlander, even Jane Eyre with its twisted romance, there is always romance at the core of it, at the very heart of it. And so I do think that it's something I've always been drawn to, but maybe I was drawn to it when it was kind of disguised by other genres, generally historical fiction. But I have been really enjoying reading romance books lately. I really loved the Talia Hibbert books. I really enjoyed Evie Dunmore. The 2 Helen Huang books that I read, I also really enjoyed. So I would like to dive a little deeper into this genre and see if I can make sense of it, because honestly, at this point, I have no idea what tropes I really enjoy. As far as like historical romance goes, I've really only read Victorian, so I'd love to explore some different time periods. And just generally, I'd just like to have a little fun. Like, a lot of what I read, by choice, mind you, tends to be a little bit heavier. I like drama, I like tragedies, I like serious works of nonfiction. And when I say serious works, I mean like they deal with heavier topics. So being able to pick up a romance every now and then and just kind of have an enjoyable read, low stakes, I'm kind of here for it. So I would very much like to explore that genre. And if you have any recommendations for books that you think I should read, whether it's historical romance or contemporary romance, please leave the suggestions in the comment section, because I really don't know where to start. Like, at all. Not a clue. And now, with all that being said, we are going to pivot to an entirely different type of goal, which that goal for me is to reread War and Peace at some point in 2022. Now, this is a very much loved, a well-loved, well-worn edition of War and Peace that was carried in my backpack in high school for months. It definitely has seen some things, but I do feel like the reading experience of reading War and Peace when I was 15 is going to be drastically different as someone who is in 2022 32 years old. And so I really do want to read this again. And I also think that it's going to be different, not only because my life experiences are different and there are more of them. I studied Russian history in college. I was a Russianist. I studied Russian cultural history, the Russian intelligentsia in particular, and Leo Tolstoy was a part of that. And so I think with having that background, there's going to be an added texture to the reading that 15-year-old me would have also been missing out on. So I really want to do this. I think I'm going to take it very slow, but I would love your thoughts because I'm wondering if maybe I should do this as like a read along, but if anyone would be interested in a read along, let me know in the comment section. I'm also contemplating like maybe doing videos on the different sections where I react to them. So that's also something, if you'd be interested in, certainly let me know in the comment section. But yeah, I would really love to reread this in 2022. And now to talk about a goal that I think kind of straddles reading goals and channel goals, so it kind of makes itself a nice segue into that section of the video, but it's author spotlights. Now, the first time I really heard this term was on Britta's channel several videos ago, and I was really intrigued by this idea that she had of essentially focusing on an author or two over the course of the year and reading their backlist. And I am the sort of like obsessive personality that when I really fall in love with an author's writing style, I want every book they've ever written and I want to read them all ASAP. That's basically what happened in 2020 with Sarah Waters. I went through like 4 of her books maybe just in the course of like 6 months. So it definitely feels right to me. The problem is I don't honestly know which authors I would try to spotlight quite yet. I feel like there are quite a few options for this. I could easily try to finish up the Sarah Waters books. I have 2 of them that I still need to read. I could do someone like Pat Barker. I still haven't read the Regeneration series. And I don't know if she has other books. I should have checked that. But it could also be someone like an Edith Wharton, because I bought this beautiful omnibus which has 3 of her novels in them. And what is this? The House of Mirth, The Custom of the Country, and The Age of Innocence. And I've never read any of Edith Wharton's books in their entirety, but I know that there are quite a few people who have similar reading taste to me and have really enjoyed them. So Edith Wharton and this omnibus would be an option too. And I mean, there are people like Tom Hardy or George Eliot or even the Bronte sisters. Like, there are plenty of options there. I think whatever I decided to do, I would pick like maybe one like classic author and then one more contemporary author, and see how it goes. Oh, and Daphne du Maurier, I could do her too, although she would end up being like a multi-year one because she's written like a bajillion books. I think it's like a dozen. So that would take some doing. But yeah, so I would love to do some sort of author spotlight on 1 or 2 authors in 2022. Authors TBD though. And the other side of this, which is the segue into talking more about my channel goals, is that I would also like to do some like author spotlight type videos. Again, this is not a like original idea, I guess, because I know that Olive actually spoke about this on her channel as well, but I would love to create videos where I talk about one author and all of the books that I have read, hopefully all of their books, and kind of rank the books talk about which ones I would recommend if you're new to the author, and just kind of give you as much information as you can about a particular author. I could do that with quite a few of the authors I just mentioned, but also there are several others that I could do it for. Magda Szabo, I think I only have one of her books left to read that has actually been translated into English. I could pretty easily do the Bronte sisters, or at least one of the Brontes, because I think I've read the majority of the books by all three of the sisters. So there are things that I could do. But needless to say, I just think they would be fun videos to share with you guys, especially if they're authors who I'm so excited about and so passionate about, which if I've read their entire backlist, then yes, just basically. At that point, I am a huge fangirl, and so they're just fun videos to share with you guys. And another one of those channel goals is I would really like to dabble in standalone reviews. And this is one of these goals that I feel like I can't really plan for it. I really need to play it by ear, because I think this is only going to work if I read a book and have strong opinions about it, whether they are positive opinions and it's a rave, or whether it is really negative opinions and a pan. So I just feel like it has to be one of those extremes, and I won't know if that's the case until I've read the book, obviously. But I think that if I do have strong opinions about it, I do want to do some of these one book reviews. Because to be honest, there have been times when I don't say everything I want to say about a book in one of my wrap-ups, because they are already quite long. I think on average they're 30 to 40 minutes. So I don't want to spend 10 minutes just talking about one book. But if I do these standalone reviews, then 10 minutes of talking about one book is totally fine. So I think I'm going to try it. I do think it's one of those things that will also help me grow as a reviewer of books, and so it could be a fun little experiment. And then there is my historical fiction content, which I read a ton of historical fiction, but when I started this channel, I had all of these ideas of the types of videos that I would do that were really historical fiction focused. And I haven't done nearly as many of them as I would like to do. And one of the ideas that I had when I first started this channel in 2020 was that I would love to create these historical fiction recommendation videos that focus on a particular time period or era. And I did one way back at the start of my channel on books set during the Renaissance, and I think it's one of my most popular videos on this channel to date. So I would really like to explore other time periods, whether it's the Victorian era, Tudor England, World War I, World War II, the Civil War, the French Revolution, the Russian Revolution. There's so many other eras that I could potentially explore, and I would like to do that. And honestly, I think as long as I'm able to talk really positively about 4 or 5 books in a particular era, there's no reason why I can't recommend them to you in that format. So I think that's something that I want to explore. If there are particular time periods that you want me to create those videos on, certainly let me know, because I will do my best. And the last of my goals is that I am saying fairly well to Goodreads. It has been a long run. I have had many an account on Goodreads over the years. I don't remember my passwords for the ones that I set up in high school or even in college. But basically, since starting BookTube, I've been very good about updating my reading journey on Goodreads. However, in the last few months, I've been updating it both on the Storygraph and Goodreads, and I finally want to cut that cord. And it's not because I don't like the community on Goodreads. I do think that that is one of the bright spot of Goodreads. I love the community. There are so many people there. But honestly, I would like to minimize the ways in which I rely on Amazon. And I stopped buying books from them years ago, and this feels like the next, like, reasonable step for me. And honestly, I really like the story graph. I'm not the data head who loves the statistics on the story graph, although that is really interesting to look at, but I genuinely enjoy the way that they are continuing to take feedback and develop a reading tool that us readers are going to really enjoy. When they started out, you could only follow people, but now they've added that you can friend people, which is really nice, and so I've been doing that. But they added that. They're adding like a buddy reads thing, where you can like create buddy reads and track it on the story graph. They have the trigger warnings there. They have, what else do they have? They have the reading challenges, so you could literally create your TBR every month there and keep track of them, or create reading challenges and update them that way, and it's really, really fun. And so there's just a lot that they're offering that I really enjoy, and I like supporting a smaller company, and so I'm gonna make the move. I'm going to stop updating Goodreads. I couldn't stop before the end of this year because I am such a completist. I couldn't like abruptly end the Goodreads reading challenge even though I surpassed it. So basically January 1st, if you want to follow my reading journey, you need to follow me on the story graph or add me as a friend. You like like that's where I'll be. So yeah, those are the goals for 2022. I'm honestly very excited about them. I'm excited to continue to read and talk about the books that I'm reading here, because honestly, when I started this channel in the summer of 2020, I had no idea that I would still be doing it in 2022 and loving it. I had no idea that there would be 800 or so people out there who would be interested on my thoughts on books. That still blows my mind. But I honestly just want to end this video by saying thank you to every single one of my subscribers, every single one of my viewers, everyone who's ever left a comment, who's ever liked a video, who's ever had a conversation with me about a book that I recommended and they enjoyed. It just means so much to me to be able to have this little community here where I can nerd out about the books that I love and spill some tea on the books that I don't. So I do hope you enjoyed this video, and once again I ask that if you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe, because it does help this little channel grow and it means the absolute world to me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!